You should know that there's a regular board meeting Wednesday, but what you may not know is that this very day, within moments, is the 5th annual meeting of the Broadcasting Board of Governesses. It's an historic session. The glass ceiling has been shattered. Shelley Jeff has been appointed by the President of the United States as the first chairwoman of this male media dynasty. Let's listen in.
Hello, everybody. So, once again, I'd like to congratulate Shelley Jeff for her historic presidential appointment as the first chairwoman of the Broadcasting Board of Governesses.
Hear, hear.
Congratulations, Shelley.
Thank you all very much. It's an honor to lead such a fine group of men.
Thank you. Madam Chairwoman, we're looking forward to taking full advantage of your broadcasting credentials, as well as any fashion advice you may have. But before we adjourn, do you have any questions?
Yes, I was wondering if you fellas could tell me a little bit about yourselves.
Well, I started at VOA at a transmitter site in Diego Garcia. I was on a cruise ship, and I jumped in the water and went swimming one day and came on this island and there was no work, except changing a light, a bunch of lights in a transmitter.
You climbed up a ladder with that dress on?
So.
The guys must have loved you.
I'm surprised what you can do with some wires.
Randy Boyd with his radio kites.
Yeah, I'm really surprised what you can do with those wires.
And
Okay?
now look at you, a leading figure in American broadcasting.
You think he is a leading figure? I started working for VOA during the height of the Cold War. I soldered speakers and mended cables, mic cables, and I worked in one VOA bureau after another, from Morocco to Moscow. I got so good at it that in 1989, when I was stationed in Berlin, I was interviewed by President Bush.
The president interviewed you?
Yes, he did.
Here we go again.
Are you going to tell that story again?
No, I won't, I promise. But not only that, but later that year, I helped to speed the fall of communism when I accidentally backed up the VOA production truck into the Berlin Wall, knocking the first section out, and the communists went nuts.
Accidentally, my...
It's the only reason he's on the board.
And we can't get rid of him.
That's true.
VOA helps end the fall of communism. But the real story here is a knucklehead can't drive with high heels on.
That's right.
It's quite an impressive history.
You want history? I'll give you history. When I started at VOA, there was only one service, the Pangean service. The supercontinent didn't drift until my 10-year anniversary. Those were the good old days. Fur kilts, saber-tooth tiger handbags. Now look at us, over 40 languages, internet, mobile, digital first. We didn't need any of that in my day.
So, Shelley, why did the president choose such a distinguished lady like yourself to lead the board of governors?
Well, for starters, fellas, the president thought the governesses were starting to become a bit unfashionable. But really, it's because I was executive producer of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So, Larry David and I have a plan to make VOA just as popular.
All right. You know, I think she's gonna fit in very well.
Yeah, we will. Thank you. And thankfully, it's over.
Here's Vivian Shakarian and Marissa Melton to sing Let's Get Digital.
I know you want to write your CN story, and English has a newscast coming. But radio is Get your Twitter up and start your tweeting for the BBG. Let's go digital, digital. We gotta go digital. Let's get into digital. Get that Reuters on the page. The home page. Get that Reuters on the page. It doesn't matter if we double source it, as long as there's a decent photo. We gotta get some hits so we'll be noticed, like the BBC. Let's go digital, digital. We gotta go digital. Let's get into digital. Get that Reuters on the page. The home page. Get that Reuters on the page. I'm sure you understand what's most important. We gotta please BBG watch. So write it for the web, 'cause Ernie's waiting. That's the VOA. Let's go digital, digital. We gotta go digital. Let's get into digital. Get that Reuters on the page. The home page. Get that Reuters on the page. Let's go digital, digital. We gotta go digital, digital.
A horror story too sensitive to appear even on the correspondence. Ladies and gentlemen, VOA torture.
Last week, the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee released a summary report detailing torture carried out by the Central Intelligence Agency in the so-called War on Terror. It's a damning indictment of CIA interrogation practices after 9/11. Of lesser note, but no less significance, was the release today of the 2014 VOA Newsroom Torture Report. It too is a damning indictment. No major news outlets have carried the story, except us. On Capitol Hill, Senator Dianne Alsfine called this report's findings a stain on the good history of VOA.
The report we're releasing today details grave injustices inflicted on the innocent and unsuspecting members of the VOA newsroom staff during 2014. Throughout the past year, and in fact, for more than a decade, newsroom personnel have been subjected to endless blather about planned reorgs, one after another. Rumors and innuendo, meetings upon meetings, meetings to talk about holding other meetings. Flowcharts, emails calling for flowchart ideas. Moving people to different seats and then moving them again, and again, and again. This is the ongoing torture of newsroom employees. But wait, there's more. Another black mark, the seemingly endless and ear-busting work done on the roof just above the newsroom ceiling this year. Writers and editors were forced to endure the pain of having their eardrums blasted by the jackhammering, drilling, pounding, and picking from above. Not to mention the dust and occasional bursts of water that fell from the suspended ceiling. Throughout the past year, on multiple occasions, employees in the newsroom were subjected to additional ear-busting noise, this under the guise of testing the fire alarm system. repeated over and over again, sometimes for hours on end, the same annoying voice falsely warning that an emergency situation had been reported in the building. Still another black mark, unrelenting, bone-chilling cold, permeating throughout the room. That's what VOA newsroom employees had to endure this year, forcing them to don sweaters and jackets and set up electric heaters even in the middle of summer. And this receives honorable mention, or in this case, dishonorable mention, the frequent sightings of mice roaming around the newsroom at will. In some cases, these mice were observed to stare back at frightened employees as they screamed in terror. Then, adding insult to injury, employees received emails blaming them for the rodent problem because of eating food at their workstations, something required when you have a straight 8-hour work day. I won't continue detailing other aspects listed in this report. You can read it for yourself. Copies of this 220-page document are available in David Jones's office or at bbgwatch.com. Let me just say in closing, we cannot allow this reprehensible behavior to continue. We must do better. We can do better. I thank you.
A spokeswoman for VOA Director David Ensor expressed surprise at the extent of torture listed in the report, but added, quote, "It's only the newsroom. Does anybody really care?" Unquote. The spokeswoman said she did not anticipate any prosecutions from this report.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer on camera. I'd hammer during live shows all over the floor. I'd hammer on newscasts, I'd hammer on tapings. I'd hammer out the noise it brings to the people in the newsroom all over the floor. If I had a jackhammer, I'd hammer during meetings. I'd hammer during setups all over the floor. I'd hammer during phone calls. I'd hammer during live shots. I'd hammer when the staff is browsing Amazon or eBay all over the floor. Ooh.